Good morning, guys and girls. It's Mr. Pettis. Today we're going to go over multiplying rationals, okay? Now, pretty easy. As you can see, I wrote down the steps already. The steps are going to be to factor everything completely on top and on bottom. Then, after that, you can state your excluded values. And number 3, you're going to cancel and simplify, okay? Now, the first examples, just to get you comfortable with your exponents again, okay? So we don't care about common denominators because multiplication, you just multiply straight across. If you see multiplication, you're going to multiply the top with each other, and then you're going to multiply the bottoms with each other, okay? So the first example we have, you can cancel stuff out already, but just to stick with the routine, I'm going to multiply straight across for these type of problems. So 8 times 7 is what? 56. Okay. And then with your x's, when we multiply, we're just adding exponents. So that'll be 7 with 3 plus 4. And then y would be y to the 4th power, 1 plus 3. Okay. All that divided by, multiply your 2 times 4, your coefficients, so 8. And then there's no x over here, so it's just going to stay as 1x. And then y squared times y would be y to the 3rd. Remember, multiply coefficients, add exponents, okay? So here, this is where you simplify. So just like a normal fraction, 56 over 8 is 7. And then what do we do when we have exponents with fractions? We subtract. Think of the fraction bar as a subtraction sign. So 7 minus 1 would be 6. And then 4 minus 3 would be 1. So that's going to be your answer right there. Okay, what are your excluded values? Well, if we look at our denominators here, we actually have 2 variables, so we have 2 denominators. And since it's nothing plus or minus at the end, nothing plus or minus at the end, it's basically just 0 for x and 0 for y. Okay, so that's a little bit different problem than what we'll be doing mainly, but just to get you started. Alright, so more problems that you'll be able to see, like this second example. Let me try to move this. Alright, right here. So what you want to do is factor everything out so you can see your EVs, okay? So how do we factor the top here? What do they have in common? Well, we see that 3 is in common for sure. And then how many x's? Well, 1. Okay, so if I divide the top by 3x, I should get x minus 1. Okay? Now factor the denominator here. Factors of negative 5 to give you positive 4. So that'll be positive 5 and negative 1. Okay? Alright, multiply still by the other side. So factors of negative 20 to give you 1. That'll be positive 5 and negative 4. And then we just have 3x. Alright, so right there's a good time to do your EV since everything is factored out. All you gotta look at is your denominator. So we have 3 x's on the bottom, so we should have 3 EVs. Unless they repeat themselves, then you don't have to write it twice. But in this case, x does not equal negative 5, opposite, positive 1, opposite, and then 3x. 3x is automatically 0 because there's nothing behind it. So it's just 0. Okay, so that's done. And now the lovely part. Now we get to cancel stuff out. So now that it's multiplication, everything on top is going to go together. We're not actually going to do the foiling. And then everything on the bottom is going to go together. The reason why you're not going to do the foiling is because stuff can cancel. Anything on top can cancel with anything on the bottom. but it has to be identical. It could be, for instance, x minus 1 and x minus 1. Okay? Those are canceled out. All right? And then also the x plus 5 and x plus 5. It doesn't matter if it's on top. I mean, it doesn't matter that they're diagonal. This is x plus 5 is on top. This x plus 5 is on bottom. And then also we have 3x. That cancels. So this lovely problem just comes out to be x minus 4. Okay? Alright, let's do one more. Because there's going to be some problems I'm going to give you where you have to do the difference or sum of cubes. Okay, so last problem for this page. You're going to have something like this. X plus 2 on top, x cubed minus 27 times x squared plus 3x plus 9. Okay? So you want to do the EVs, but you can't because the denominators aren't factored yet. Okay? So, in this case, the denominator here is going to just be 1. And then you factor everything else. So how do I factor? This top's going to stay the same. How am I going to factor x cubed minus 27? Well, hopefully you remember the difference of cubes, which would be your a minus b, and then your a squared plus ab plus b squared. Oops, sorry, wrote that on the outside. B squared. Okay, remember? Same, opposite, plus, and then you just cube these and then follow the routine. So the cube of our two terms here would just be x minus 3. And then we would have a squared. I'm sorry, not a squared, x squared. X squared plus 3x plus 9. Okay? Multiplied by this side, which in this case, x squared plus 3x plus 9, you can't factor that. Factors of 9 would be 3 and 3, and 1 and 9. 3 plus 3 is 6. 3, let me write it out so you know. So the only difference of these is either 10 or 8, not 3. The difference or sum of these is 6 or 0, not 3. So this is actually not factorable. Okay? So, your EV for this case, we're not going to talk about this one because you can't factor it. So, we're not going to talk about it. But the other EV would just be 3. Okay? This you would have to do quadratic formula, and we're just going to skip that for now. So, what cancels? That quadratic and this quadratic cancel. And what are you left with? Well, whatever's on top with whatever's on the bottom. Okay, the 1 is just 1, so you don't have to do anything. So that is your answer. So just remember the difference or sum of cubes. Same, opposite, plus. Remember, it's AB. You're basically taking the cube root, and it's AB, A squared, AB, B squared. And your signs are going to be same, opposite, plus. It's not going to happen too much, but I am going to put them in there just so you can refresh your memory. Okay? That's the difference or sum of cubes. Alright, watch the other video for dividing rationals. I appreciate y'all. Go ahead and like and subscribe my channel, and you know, make Mr. Pettis a little bit more famous. Peace out.